What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and this is my last film breakdown before the draft. And I'm also gonna, at the end of the show, I'm also gonna do what I think the Redskins should do with their picks in the upcoming draft. So today's show is basically, like I said, it's the film breakdown of Brian Burns. This guy has been talked about a lot recently about the Redskins possibly taking him. My concern and my worry is that I don't think this is the right guy for us on this team. Now, I will say this. I'm going to show y'all film from 3 different games. I'm not going to really break the film down because a lot of his film kind of looks identical to each other. So I'm just going to show you film and let you make your own judgment of it. But I'm going to actually talk about what, is some of the things that I have, is my biggest concern. So I'm going to just go ahead and start running the tape. Now, with Brian Burns, he's a tall guy. He's really, really tall. And he's also very, very fast off the ball. One of my biggest concerns with the guy is that I don't think that he actually fits the Redskins system when it comes to defense, but I also don't think that he will fit a lot of defenses when it comes to his style of play. Because to me, I see everybody's talking about taking this guy at 15 overall. My problem with taking this guy at 15 overall is that for me, he's a situational pass rusher. Like, he's a third down pass rusher. And to me, I don't see why you would want to waste a 15th overall pick on a situational pass rusher. To be honest, we need a guy that can play every down like Ryan Kerrigan. We can't have these guys that come in and they can only come in on third down, or they can only come in on passing plays. We need an everyday player. And this guy, to me, he's just not that. If you look at some of the film that I'm playing and what's going on, he can run plays down, but he's a liability in the run game. It seems like also he's a lot of offensive tackles, even tight ends, they seem like they're, like it's kind of easy for them to block him unless he's using his speed to his advantage. And, when you think about some of the tackles in the NFL, they can nullify that really, really fast. You think about somebody like Trent who has quick feet. You think about those tackles that got quick feet, and they'll nullify this guy's everything this guy does, and he'll be like a non-factor. And to me, I don't think that we need a situational pass rusher in our defense. I understand, he's fast. He's very, very fast. That's something that I really have to commend the guy on. He's really, really fast. But like I said, again, for me, I just don't see why we would take a situational pass rusher at 15 when, because I've been talking to a few people, and the problem I've been having with everybody is that everybody's talking about taking Brian Burns, who's a situational pass rusher, and instead of taking Marquise Brown, who's basically a number 1 pick. This guy is, to me, the most dangerous wide receiver in the draft. I know some people may think it's DK Metcalf, but if you look at DK Metcalf's film, you're going to have a totally different thing. But it's crazy to me that people are talking about actually taking Brian Burns instead of taking Marquise Brown because he has a foot injury. Understand, Marquise Brown is going to be ready by rookie minicamp. So he's not going to even be injured. He's going to be fully healed. He may have a little bit of remnants, but by training camp, he's going to be fully healed. Like I said, he's going to be healed by rookie minicamp. Like I said, he might have just minimal remnants of the injury, but it may not even be anything that may affect him. Then people are talking about, take Brian Burns instead of taking some other guys that are actually better than him. You know, I mean, to me, I would rather take a Noah Fant or something else. But to me, again, Brian Burns is just not the guy that you want in this particular defense because, a guy like Ja'Kai Polite. Ja'Kai Polite is probably, now if Ja'Kai Polite fell at 15, I would understand us taking him over Marquise Brown. But if Ja'Kai Polite doesn't fall that far, taking Brian Burns is not what you want to do. Brian Burns is not the guy you want in your system long term because, again, for some teams, he might be the answer, but for us, he's not the answer. You know, we dealt with Preston Smith, who came in and he was good at times against the pass, but he wasn't as solid against the run, you know. And again, you talking about picking up another guy who could possibly be in that frame of coming in on passing downs, but not really being good enough to play on running downs. And again, like I said, Ja'Kai Polite to me is a far better player, but I don't see him falling that far to us. And now, if he did fall to 15, again, I would understand taking him over Marquise Brown because Ja'Kai Polite is basically a thumper. Like he can actually play the run, he can play the pass, and that's the perfect person to put opposite of Ryan Kerrigan. You need somebody who could play every single down, not somebody you just bring in every once in a while. Now, with that being said, again, he is a fast guy. I'm not saying his ability is not good, but I don't think that where we are as a team at this point, having a situational pass rusher is not what we need because, again, like I said, we had Preston Smith, we got Ryan Anderson, and not only that, I don't think that we have time to develop a guy, you know, and Brian Burns is technically a developmental guy because we set up there, we developed Troy Murphy, and he didn't come around until his third year. We did all we could with developing Preston Smith. Again, he started to show flashes starting out, but then as he started to play more and more, those flashes were here and there. They weren't as often as you wanted it to be. And to me, I just feel that at this point, we don't have time to really develop a guy and then in his third year, all of a sudden, we're dealing with his contract within his third year. So I think we need a guy that can play now and can play every down. So for me, Brian Burns is not the guy that I think we should be taking. Again, that doesn't say that he doesn't have great ability and everything, but I'm just saying I don't think that he's really the guy we need at this particular position. So that's going to be all the film that I show you guys on Brian Burns, because again, like I said, I mean, I want to preference this with saying this because I heard a lot of analysts saying that the Redskins should take Brian Burns, and I'm also hearing area people on TV also saying that they were willing to take Brian Burns. But again, I just don't understand that because he's not really the type of player you really want in your defense. I mean, again, he's a situational pass rush guy. We can't do that. We need a guy that's there all the time and who can make plays. And because this year's draft is full of defensive guys, I think avoiding a guy like him that you have to develop and going with a guy, even if you find a guy later in the draft, going with a guy later in the draft that can actually play, I would rather us do that than to sit up here and waste a pick, especially a 15 overall pick on a guy like this. So that's all the film I'm going to show you. I'm going to now go into what I think the Redskins should do in this upcoming draft. Now, the Redskins have, I think, 9 picks. They got 9 picks in this upcoming draft. So, but to me, I feel that they should also do something in this upcoming draft. One is I think they should trade both their 7th round picks and see if they can get a 4th. Now, if they do get a 4th, I feel that they can't go any further than below 107. If they go further than 107, they might miss a really good player that they will probably really need. So I'm actually going to go down the draft line of what I think the Redskins should do, who they should, and I'll also give certain little scenarios if a guy happens to be there, or if a guy is more than likely going to be available, or if a guy is not available, who to take in return. So, at the number 15 overall pick, I have the Redskins taking Marquise Brown. Again, like I said, he's a fully developed wide receiver. The only thing you gotta have to teach this guy is the playbook, and I think that that's something that we desperately need, especially with Paul Richardson coming back from injury. You want somebody who can actually really take the top off of a defense. Now, again, I preface this with saying this: if Ja'Kai Polite happens to fall to us, I don't mind us taking him because he's the perfect fit to put opposite Ryan Kerrigan. But for me, Marquise Brown is our guy. With our second overall pick, I think we should take the quarterback Will Grier from West Virginia. Again, I think that this particular quarterback, to me, I think he's massively underrated because he kind of forced a West Virginia team who was kind of years and times ago, they used to be like a really big running team, but he plays so well for them. And I'm sorry, I think that this Will Grier is kind of being is not being really, he's underrated to me as a quarterback, and I think that we should take him. If we go for a quarterback, we should probably take him in the second round. But again, that's all on the basis of who falls to us. If Irv Smith doesn't get picked up in the first round and he falls to us in the second round, I suggest we take Irv Smith. Irv Smith, like TJ Hawkinson, can actually catch and block. They actually use Irv Smith a lot in like lead blocking plays and stuff like that. So that would be who I think that the Redskins should take. With the third pick, because the Redskins got 2 third-round picks. With their first pick in the third round, I think they should take Paris Campbell. Yes, I do feel that the Redskins could take 2 wide receivers in this draft. And to me, if you match up Paris Campbell and Marquise Brown, and you also have Paul Richardson come back, you might end up having like the deadliest wide receiving core. And 2 of them would be on rookie deals. So that would be what I think should go there. With the other pick in the second round, I think they should take the edge rusher O'Shane Zimenez from Old Dominion University. I talked about this guy in my previous shows. I think that he's a guy that's massively underrated, and I think that he's gonna do something that will be super fantastic again. He kind of fits that Ja'Kai Polite mode where he would be a perfect fit opposite Ryan Kerrigan, and he's a sure tackler, which I really love. And he basically has a lot of the pass rush moves that you want in a player. So there would be almost no development with this guy. If Paris Campbell, if O'Shane Zimenez or Paris Campbell is not there, I want the Redskins to take the safety out of Florida, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Now, this is a guy that's versatile as safety, so he could play the strong side and he could play the free safety. So that would be great because of the fact that with us signing Landon Collins, I think if you get a guy that's versatile who could play either safety position, you actually might be dealing with a guy who can actually cover. And there could be times where you can bring Landon Collins up to the line, or you can bring him up to the line, and you can kind of fool an offense into doing something they don't really want to do. Again, like I said, I think the Redskins should trade their two seventh round picks and see if they can get a 4th rounder. To me, at this point, I think their best opportunity to trade the 2 7th rounders and get a 4th rounder is probably with the Raiders, if not the Raiders, with the Jets. And if they are able to do that, they should be able to get the offensive lineman John Baker from Boston College. Now, just to give y'all some background on this guy is probably he's part of one of the best offensive line units in college football. His teammate Chris Lindstrom is going to go ahead of him, but if he didn't get injured in 2017, we're talking about this guy would have been a high pick as well. But I think he's going to fall because he got injured a year before. He came back last year and he was still very solid. And I think that coming into this year, again, he's going to be ready by, he's already healed. So by rookie minicamp, he's going to be in our system. And he's actually a plug and play guy. So we wouldn't have to worry about who are we going to have at left guard, because this guy can come in and immediately play for us. And that's John Baker of Boston College. With our 5th picks, we got 2 picks in the 5th round. I got us taking Hakeem Butler if we don't get Paris Campbell or Marquise Brown. I got us taking Hakeem Butler and for the 2nd pick in the 5th round, Joe Jackson. Now, again, like I said, if we happen to get O'Shane Ximines and Paris Campbell in the 3rd rounds, then if Chauncey falls down to this 5th round, we should take Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Hakeem Butler, just to make sure that we're actually doing a good job with selecting the right guys. Again, I like Chauncey Gardner a lot. I feel he probably won't fall to the 5th round, but just in case he does, he would be a great pickup. Joe Jackson, I talked about him again. He's a guy that it's some development you need there, but he would be a great backup guy because we need depth. And it would be nothing better than to have a guy who can come in and actually almost kind of replace some of the starters when it comes to really playing the outside linebacker, defensive end position, or whatever that edge position is. I guess it's just the edge, but whatever that position is. And in the 6th round, which is 206, the Washington Redskins should take Kendall Joseph. Now, he's the middle linebacker out of Clemson. Now, the reason why I said this guy is because, one, I don't see him going early in the draft. But the one thing I do like is that he's actually played behind really solid defensive lines at Clemson. So he knows his role when he's playing behind a line that's a defensive line that is extremely solid. And because I feel that we've basically built that with Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Matt Ioannidis, and Tim Settle, I think that we're moving in the right direction. You got Ryan Kerrigan, and all of a sudden, you think about if it's Ja'Kai Polite, O'Shane Ximines, whatever, this guy would actually be a really good player, because in his time at Clemson, this guy has actually come close to averaging almost 200 tackles a season. So, I mean, that's something that I really think. But that's my thing. So those are my picks for the Redskins in the upcoming draft. Now, again, I hope they can trade the 2 7th round picks and get a 4th rounder, because I feel that them picking that low, there's not a lot of value down there. And at the same time, I want them to actually get rid of some of these picks, because they don't really have a lot of money. Because last year, I think they picked 9 players. This year, if they pick 9 players, I don't think they have the $10 million available to sign all these guys. So they're actually going to have to either release a player or release a few players. But from what I see right now, I don't think they're going to release anybody. So they have to get rid of these 2 picks. And so they have to get rid of these 2 picks and make it 1 pick and go from there. So, guys, let me know what y'all think. Let me know if y'all feel that this draft is right. Give me your understanding of Brian Burns, what you think Brian Burns is. And at the same time, if y'all agree with what I feel the Skins should do in this upcoming draft. Other than that, my name is John Fortune, and this is the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.